Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to jump right in and absolutely conquer two key questions from the Jurongville prelim exam. I'm going to give you the blueprint, the step-by-step guide to break them down so you can walk into that exam feeling totally confident. Let's do this.
Okay, so I want you to think about this exam, not as some boring test, but as a video game. Seriously, every question is a level, and every point you score is a power-up. We're here to hand you the strategy guide to win. So you ready? Let's hit start.
So our game today has two main stages. First, we've got Level 1, which is all about the role of citizens during a crisis. And then we're moving on to the final boss level, where we tackle the big principles that actually shape Singapore's governance.
All right, first up, Level 1. This one's all about how you, as a citizen, can really make a difference when the country is facing a huge challenge. Let's get into the mission details. So here's our mission briefing. We're looking at question 6, and it's worth a solid 7 marks. The whole scenario is based on the COVID-19 pandemic, and our job is to pinpoint 2 ways people can act responsibly. You know, the key to winning this level is being super specific and using that PEL structure we all know and love.
Our first power move is simple but absolutely crucial: just adhere to government measures. The evidence for this is super straightforward. During a crisis like COVID, what does that mean? Well, it means things like following safe distancing, wearing your mask, and using the contact tracing apps. That's the first piece of our answer puzzle right there.
And here's how we connect the dots for the big points. By following these rules, citizens are directly helping to break the chain of transmission. And why does that matter? Well, it prevents our hospitals and doctors from getting totally overwhelmed. The critical link to remember is this: this kind of collective responsibility helps the whole nation get through the emergency safer and faster. Okay, let's lock in our second responsible action. This one's a 2-part combo. First, verify information, and second, step up to help. What's the evidence for that? Well, you've got citizens who double-check facts before sharing, which stops fake news in its tracks. And you've got all those amazing volunteer groups, both big and small, who helped get essentials to people who really needed them.
And what's the real impact of that action? Well, stopping misinformation is huge. It prevents widespread panic. And volunteering? That makes sure nobody gets left behind. When you put them together, these actions build what we call social resilience. It's like the social glue that keeps everyone together when things are tough. And just like that, Level 1 is complete.
Okay, team, take a deep breath. We've cleared Level 1. Now it's time for the boss level. This is where things get a bit more complex because we have to weigh 2 really big ideas against each other. This is the final challenge in our walkthrough.
And here it is, the final boss, worth a whopping 8 marks. The question is this: is anticipating change and staying relevant more important than meritocracy in shaping Singapore's governance? Whoa. Okay, so to beat this, we have to prove why Factor 1 is important, then prove why Factor 2 is important, and then, the final move, we have to weigh them against each other.
Let's start with our first argument, anticipating change. This is all about being proactive. The government looks into the future to deal with threats before they even become a crisis. A perfect piece of evidence for this? That $5 billion Coastal and Flood Protection Fund. It's a huge piggy bank set aside to prepare for the very real threat of rising sea levels from climate change.
So why is this a big deal? By acting early, the government can turn what would be a total disaster into something manageable. This forward-looking thinking is what ensures Singapore stays stable and prosperous in the long run. It's literally like scanning the horizon and building a shield before the enemy has even fired their arrows.
All right, now for the other side of the coin: meritocracy. At its core, this is the idea that opportunities and rewards are based on your ability and how hard you work, not your background, your race, or your religion. A fantastic example of this is the EduSave Scholarship, which is given to the top 10% of students purely based on their academic performance and good character.
And the link here is incredibly powerful. When you reward effort, it encourages everyone to do their best. It makes the system feel fair. This creates what's called upward social mobility, this idea that anyone can succeed if they work for it. And what happens when you have a whole nation of people trying their best? You get progress. It's the engine that drives the whole society forward.
So, we've got 2 incredibly important principles. One is about protecting the future of the nation itself. The other is about ensuring fairness and progress for the people within it. So, which one carries more weight? Let's get to that final verdict.
Okay, the verdict is in. The scales tip towards anticipating change. And the reason is actually pretty simple. For a small country like Singapore, survival is everything. If you fail to adapt to major global threats like climate change or a pandemic, the nation itself could be at risk. And let's be real, a fair, meritocratic system is pretty useless if there's no nation left to govern, right? Survival has to be the foundation.
Just let that sink in for a second. The source material really nails it with this quote. It confirms that anticipating change isn't just one principle among many. It's the bedrock. It's the very platform that everything else, including a fair and merit-based society, has to be built on.
And with that, we have defeated the boss. So what's our reward? The ultimate victory blueprint, a complete cheat sheet that sums up everything we just covered, making sure you are totally ready for the real thing.
And here it is in all its glory. For Q6, our two key actions are adhering to measures and verifying info/volunteering. For Q7, our big fight is anticipating change versus meritocracy. And that all-important final weighing, anticipating change wins out because survival against global threats has to come first before you can even have a fair society. This right here is your roadmap to full marks.
And there we have it, mission accomplished. You are now fully equipped for the Jurongville prelim. Just remember the strategy. Stack those peel blocks perfectly, and when you have to weigh two big factors, always measure them against the ultimate benchmark of national survival. That's the secret to top marks. You've got this.